Hello, welcome to my English class. We are still on the formation of irregular verbs. Of course, in my previous class, I gave you 3 rules or tips that can help you to form the irregular verb. Why am I doing this? I am doing this to help so many learners out there that always find it difficult to form the V2 and the V3 of most irregular verbs. It's not your fault. It is due to the complexities of irregular verbs. And that's why I'm here to break it down and give you some rules or tips. If you like, you can call it tips, yeah. And give you some tips that can guide you into the formation of the irregular verbs when it comes to the past tense and the past participle. Stay tight, and I promise you, you'll be glad you did. Do well to start with the first video on the formation of irregular verbs, where I've already given 3 mind-blowing tips that can help you to assimilate the formation of irregular verbs. I'm still on it again, and in today's class, you're going to get more rules. If you like, you can call it tips that can serve as a guide when forming the past tense and the past participle. Stay tight. Let's do this together. Okay. Number 1, we are going to look at the base, the V2, which is the past tense, and the V3, which is the past participle. When we say past participle, we are looking at that very verb that each time you want to use it, you must use have or has or had. Has for the third person singular, he, she, it, and every other persons will say have as the past tense or past participle of have or has, and we still maintain the V3 whenever these 3 are used. All right, let's swing into action. Rule number 4. Why number 4? It is number 4 because we had already given 3 rules before this one. So do yourself a favor to go back, watch them, and join us so that you can be on the same page. All right, the first rule we have on our list, which I said is the number 4, states that when a verb ends with ind, simply change it to ound. Can we do this together? Let's see whether as V2 or as V3. They have the same formation. Let's do this together. Bind, bound, bound. Find, found, found. Grind, ground, ground. This sounds simple, right? Okay, remember, we are doing this to help you while forming the irregular verbs. We go to the next rule, which is rule number 5. And the rule number 5 states that when a verb ends with ake, ache, the V2, which is the past tense, should be ook. And when it is the V3, you say aching. Let's do this together. Take, and we add ook. We have took, and here we say taking, taken. All right. Forsake, forsook. Remember V2, and the V3 says forsaken. We come to partake. Partake, we say partook, and the V3 will say partaking. And we come to the next, shake. So, shook, shaking. All right. And we have the next rule. You can as well call it a tip. So let's go to the next tip. The next tip states that when you have an irregular verb, remember, because There are regular verbs that ends with OW. O like slow. And we just add ed, slowed. So here you just need to note the verbs that ends with OW. So here you just need to know the irregular verbs that end with OW. So we have O. The V2 states that we change the verb to O. EW. And here we also change the verb when we come to the past participle. We change the O to own. OWN. Let's try this together. Throw. We say through. And we come here, we take this. Thrown. Beautiful. We have the next. Grow. U will be added. So we have grew. And we add this one. Own. Grown. We have another. Blow. We say blew. And here becomes blown. We have the next. Know. And here becomes new. In case you're wondering why I said no, just bear in mind that the K is silent. This is know. Your ability to know something. Knowledge ability. We say no. Okay. New. Known. And I have another one which I added. When you look at it, we can easily say that this does not fall in place because the ending is not OW. So why did I put it? I put it here because it has the same V2 and V3 form. The past tense and past participle are the same, like these ones. So we say flew, and here becomes flown. All right, we go to the last. Draw is another rule. Let's see. When you have an irregular verb that ends with AW, the past tense will be EW and the past participle will be AWN. Let's give it a try. Draw, drew, drawn. Withdrew. Okay, withdraw. We say withdrew. And here becomes withdrawn. I hope this can really serve as a guide. The next rule on my list is number 8. A verb that ends with EAR. What do we do when we come to the past tense and the past participle? We add ORE, or for the past tense, V2. And we add ORN for the past participle as a V3. Let's do it together. Tear, tore, torn. Wear, to wear your clothes, to put it on. Wore, won. Bear with me. Bore, born. Pay attention here. There is an E added when it comes to the V3 of the irregular verb bear. You add an E at the end of the past participle. That's just the slight difference you need to take note of. Okay, we go to the next. We have the number 8, where I brought out verbs that will always end with INK or ING. In this case, we are asked to add ANK for the ones that end with INK at the level of the past tense, and ANG for the ones that end with ING. And when we come to the V3, we change it to UNK for the ones that end with INK, and UNG for the ones that end with ING. Don't forget, V2 means past tense and V3 means past participle. Now let's do this together. Ring, becomes ran, and here becomes wrong. Drink becomes drank. I just drank water, and here becomes drunk. Sink becomes sank, and here becomes sunk. Sing becomes sang, and when it comes to V3 becomes sung. All right, now I titled this place collection of like terms. You must be familiar with this in mathematics. We always collect like terms. Remember, irregular verbs are those verbs without the standard rules when it comes to the formation of the past tense and past participle. However, I am here to group them in such a way that you can follow the tips as a guide to form their past tense and past participle. So today, here, I called it collection of like terms. We're going to see verbs that have the same formation when it comes to the past tense and past participle. Let's do it together. We have the verb run becomes ran. And here, the same thing comes over here as the past participle. We have the next begin. We have began. It takes an again. And here becomes begun. Okay, we come to swim. Swim becomes swam. And here becomes swum. Okay, another collection of like terms. We are going to see feel. The past tense becomes felt. And past participle becomes felt. Sameness. And here we have deal. Dealt. I've dealt with him. We have dealt with the problem of irregular verbs. Okay, leave. Left. And here becomes the same thing. That's why I called it a collection of like terms. Okay, kneel becomes knelt. And here becomes knelt. The same thing. Okay, this place we have dream. When you come to the past tense, we can say dreamed as a regular verb. And we can also say dreamt as an irregular verb. Which one would you like to follow? Drop it right under the comment section. So here, we still have the same thing, dreamed, and here becomes dreamt. And here we have learn. Past tense is learned or learnt. So we have about 30 irregular verbs dealt with in today's class. And in the previous class, I had 15 irregular verbs dealt with. You can drop your worries right under the comment section. I hope that we've been able to clear some problems, difficulties that we always face when forming the past tense and the past participle of irregular verbs. All right, if this is the first time of being with me, you just find yourself here. Do well to like, do well to share, do well to comment, subscribe, hit that very bell icon. By so doing, you will always be the first to get my upload. I remain Madame Udoza, Cynthia Ifoma, your favorite English language tutor. Stay tight, stay tuned on this very channel, and I promise you, you'll get to that very grade you're looking for. Thumbs up for me if you've been able to grab something from my lesson today. Have a nice day.